Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast with your hosts, Adam Emmert.
If it's on 2, you go on the second hut. Like this, just remember that.
And Brandon Schultz.
When I saw that, I couldn't even be mad. That was amazing.
Go Hawks!
This is episode 228 of the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers. And joining me on this happy Thanksgiving, well, Thanksgiving by the time this is out, my good buddy, Adam Emmert.
Man, it is just a beautiful morning here. I am so excited to be on the pod this morning. I woke up, had my coffee. It was amazing. The sun was shining. All the national media members were eating their hats because they were all starting to admit they're wrong about the Seahawks. It was a fun morning for me. I'm really glad to be on the pod. Talk a little bit about the big win over the crybaby Green Bay Packers.
The Seahawks get the win over the Packers. It was a week ago when it happened, but hey, yeah, we're back here to talk about it. The 27-24 win and another home win against the Packers. You know, Adam, I wonder if Green Bay fans ever get tired of watching their team get a big lead in Seattle, only to watch them give it up and lose it in the end.
Well, you would think that they're at least accustomed to dealing with the emotions of having that happen to them.
You would.
So there's that. I mean, so there's maybe a silver lining for them that way. But boy, that's definitely a sight I'm not ever going to grow tired of, watching Aaron Rodgers leave the clink defeated. That's always fun.
So we're going to be talking about the Packers and the Seahawks win. We'll talk a little bit more about the national media and how they're starting to come around on the potential that this is not a rebuilding team. And we will talk about the upcoming game against Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, from one crybaby quarterback to another. Back-to-back games. And
back-to-back. Yeah, the crybaby stretch of the schedule right here.
Yep, you had Phillip Rivers, then you had Aaron Rodgers, and now you have Cam Newton.
Man, that is the 3 biggest crybaby quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
By far. That's hilarious. I hadn't even thought about that.
I can't even think of, we were talking about kind of the teams that are among the elite in the NFL, with the Rams and the Chiefs and the Saints and the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of your top tier. I can't think of, that's definitely your top tier of crybaby quarterbacks. I can't even think of the next guy on that list. Like, Ben isn't in that top tier, but he's probably right below.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's up there, but yeah, exactly. He's on a whole nother plane. Like those 3 guys, Rivers, Rodgers, and Cam.
Yeah. My
Lord, they are the biggest whiners on the field. No doubt about it. And it's great that we have a quarterback that doesn't do any of that crap. And like when he throws a big touchdown, you see him fired up for about 3 seconds, and then it's just back to business mode. It's great. And we saw a lot of that from Russell Wilson this game.
We saw a lot. We got to see some emotion from him. We got to see a knockout punch on that 15-yard pass to Ed Dixon in the back of the end zone.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. Big pass to Ed. That was a lot of fun.
Davis, the single setback, and Russell from the shotgun with 3 wideouts. Baldwin wide to the right. The snap throw inside. It's caught. Dixon. Touchdown, Seahawks. And I don't know if Russell audible to that, but if he did, a brilliant play by Russell Wilson.
That got him on the board with the 27-24 lead. And the cool thing is after that, they shut out the Packers. They make him go. I see. It's been a week now. I think it was a 3-and-out on the following drive.
It was a 3-and-out. There was an opportunity. Was that the drive that they had the opportunity to go for it on 4th?
It was a 4th and 2, and they decided to punt. And at the time, with 4 minutes left on the clock, you have to be thinking, if you're the Packers coach, well, our defense is going to stop them, and we're going to get the ball back with 4 minutes left to go. But no. The Seahawks just pound it on the ground and drive the stake right into the finish of that game.
Well, you heard Pete Carroll say that it was a relief that they didn't go for it there. I remember in the moment, after the 3rd down play, and we're all wondering, okay, are they going to go for it? Are they going to punt or whatever? Aaron Rodgers stands out there on the field with his hands on his hips, looking towards the sideline.
Like, we're going to do this,
for
right?
For a while. He just stood there. And then they showed the close-up of his face, and you just give McCarthy the stare down. And I was like, oh, they're going to go for it. Gosh dang it, don't go for it. I don't want them to go for it. Just punt. And then they punted. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is really happening. We have a chance to actually finish this game. The defense has made their stop here at the end and really made a bunch of stops in the second half. given the offense the opportunity then to just run the clock out. And man, they just rammed it right down the Packers' throats. They knew what was coming. We knew what we were going to do. They couldn't stop us. And we just literally run out the clock. That's how you finish, man. And that was my biggest takeaway from this game, was just that the Seahawks came out and they actually finished.
Yeah, it's quite a bit a stark contrast in styles of football when you see the Seahawks take the ball with 4 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. If you were playing a game between, I don't know, the Rams and the Chiefs, you could probably have 4 or 5 scores in that period of time.
Oh, man. Maybe we'll talk about that more in the second half of the show, but that was gross football.
Yeah, and that's why I think the contrast needs to be noted here in real football, where you can get the ball with 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And you hand it off to your running back, like you're supposed to do, get some first downs, and close out a football game.
Exactly. And just really fun to watch. The running backs as a whole, the whole committee of backs all did an amazing job. I mean, whether it was Chris Carson setting the tone early, just thumping on people, he had some angry runs where he just really scooted through some little creases in the line that really nobody else is going to get through, and then just pounded dudes on the back end of runs. And then you had Rashad Penny with the ultimate, no, yes, run.
1st and 10, Penny in the backfield, and he gets the handoff, and he looks to bounce it outside, and he breaks one tackle. Now he's going to cut back. Now he's got some running room. He picks up a block from Russell, 40, 45 midfield. He's still running, cuts back to the middle. He's still moving, and finally tripped up as he tries to spin out of Alexander's tackle. What a run by Rashad Penny. It's a 30-yard pickup, and he ran for 161 yards by the time you figure it all up. What a run by Penny.
Rashad Penny making dudes miss and picking up a big gain there that was 30 yards, and where it looked like he was going to get tackled 3 or 4 yards in the backfield, able to change directions, go around the entire defense. And that was a fun play to see. That, he, with the help of that play, you had Chris Carson, 10 carries, 47 yards, a nice 4.7 average for him. And Rashad Penny with 5 carries for 46 yards and a 9.2 average. A big thanks to that 30-yard run. And that was just in the first half for those two guys. But then you had kind of Mike Davis be the featured guy in the second half.
Yeah, it was interesting to see them go to Mike Davis in the second half. I didn't really understand Pete Carroll's explanation of that. He just kind of said it was like his turn, or it was his hot hand. I don't know. But whatever, man. We got 3 backs that can get it done. All of them are over 300 yards on the year. I mean, you don't know which guy is going to be coming at you. You can't scheme against just one dude. I think that's helpful. And just the idea, too, if any one of them goes down, we got other guys that can actually come in and get it done.
Yeah, 173 rushing yards on the day for everybody. And Carson finished the day 17 carries, 83. So definitely your featured guy. Rashad Penny came out with an ankle injury in the first half, so that could have been the reason why Mike Davis saw more carries in the second half. He went 4 for 26. And then you had Russell Wilson, 5 carries and 17 yards, including that one run for a first down of 12 yards.
Russ has been using his legs a little bit more the last 2 weeks. Maybe he's feeling a little healthier. I mean, we'd heard he might be a tiny bit nicked up a couple weeks back. Now he's starting to get out there on the perimeter and stretch the defense that way. But the Seahawks staying true to their identity and as that number 1 rushing team in the league, and really just pounding the crap out of the Packers, especially when they got down 14-3 early and still managed to stick with the running game, come roaring back to get up 17-14 in the second quarter. That I think that shows a lot of resilience by them, because at one point, I don't know about you, Brandon, but after Rodgers uncorks that unbelievable throw for like 90 billion yards on the run, the tight end that I think was playing Division III football somewhere in Europe, maybe, like a guy from Nowheresville, catches a bomb. You're sitting there thinking, well, first one, the game starts out with just Chris Carson fumbling on the first play.
On the very first play.
Go, bam, bam, knock it into the end zone. You're like, oh, it's going to be a long day. Great.
Well, see, I actually had the benefit of knowing the result when I went back and watched the full game. So it was a very different experience for me, because I saw that 54-yard pass to Tanyan. And that dude was in for 3 plays in the game, and one of those was that 54-yard bomb catch for a touchdown. When I saw that, I couldn't even be mad. That was amazing.
Oh my gosh, I was so mad. So my daughter had a concert. I don't know who at Hellgate High School schedules the concerts, but they have the worst timing in the world. Like, they always seem to schedule stuff that overlaps with things that I need to be doing otherwise. Like, so they schedule a concert during the Seahawks Packers on Thursday Night Football. Like, we're going to have a talk about that. So I'm in the car watching on my phone, waiting. Like, I had about half an hour to kill because she had to be there early. And half an hour before the concert starts, so I'm watching it, and I am screaming at my phone in the car. I'm sure people thought I was a crazy person because when he uncorked that thing and it hits Tanyan, like, I'm yelling obscenities at the phone. And here's how you know that quarterbacks don't give a rip who's out on the field with them. Aaron Rodgers says after the game he thought it was Jimmy Graham when he uncorked it. When it left his hand, he thought it was going to Jimmy. He was like, "Oh, it's Tanyan! Yay!" Like, they don't give a crap. Yeah, that's how big quarterback egos are, man.
Yeah, well, I guess when you can throw bombs like that, you don't need to care who you're throwing it to.
Oh man, it was tough, and we gave up a lot of big chunk plays in that first half, and Packers come out, and what were they leading at half? 21-17? Yeah.
21-17 at the half because they had that Jones pass for 24 yards right toward the end there.
Yeah, so they were actually getting the chunk plays. I think the corners got a little, the corners and the safeties. It's hard when you play a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers who has that kind of arm, that there's plays that unfold and you start sneaking up because you're like, oh, nobody can throw it back there. And then he does it. You know, the cannon goes off and he burns you deep. I think that happened to the DBs there a little bit in the first half. They were getting used to the idea that no matter where Aaron is on the field, he can throw it 60 yards. And you gotta stay deep. And in the second half, it seems like they finally were able to reel that in, because really that was the bulk of Green Bay's offense in the first half were just bombs.
You had the 54-yard pass to Tanyan for a touchdown. You had the pass to Adams over Trey Flowers for 41 yards. And in the second quarter, then you had the pass to Jones for the touchdown. And then he caught a pass out of the backfield where he ran 22 yards. So those were the big plays, over 20 yards in the first and second quarter. In the fourth quarter was the biggest play, where he went deep to Devontae Adams over Shaquille Griffin.
Yeah, I was just watching Ken Norton's press conference from Tuesday this morning, and he touched on that play, and he said exactly what it looked like on film. Shaq got beat at the line of scrimmage, and it's something that he hasn't been fantastic at this year. Like, Shaq has been okay this year. He hasn't been great. I don't feel like he's taken that next step that we all thought he could this year. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it comes with what happens at the line of scrimmage. He needs to work on that technique a little bit more, but he let Devontae Adams get up on top of him. And at that point, then it's good luck. I mean, Aaron Rodgers will drop that in the bucket every time.
The Seahawks had some big plays of their own, and talking about guys who are coming back from injury a little bit. You mentioned Russell Wilson, but Doug Baldwin sounds like he is feeling a lot better after this game. And he also had a touchdown pass that helped get the Seahawks back in the game, 14-10 after his 6-yard pass from Russell Wilson.
Baldwin left, Lockett right, blitz is coming. Throw to the back corner of the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Seahawks! And there you have it, Doug Baldwin with his first touchdown reception of the season. The Seahawks score from 6 yards out, and Baldwin and company celebrate 14-9, your score here at CenturyLink Field.
Yeah, totally good to see Dougie Fresh back in the end zone. He really does look a lot better than he did just a couple weeks ago. In and out of his breaks a lot quicker, getting that separation, being effective out there. Now you pair him with Tyler Lockett, who is on fire, and you have yourself a pretty daunting receiving core that you got to deal with.
No touchdowns for Lockett in this game, but he caught all 5 of his targets, 5 for 5, 71 yards. Doug Baldwin
Packers fans disagree.
Yes, on the what that was probably his final catch, that 34-yarder, which, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
Tyler Lockett. It wasn't until 3 plays later where the TV copy showed an angle where you could kind of maybe say that it looked incomplete, because the first few angles you couldn't see his ball, you couldn't see his hand underneath the ball.
Yeah, there's a Packers player on the sideline who just happened to be standing
right in front of the camera,
in line.
Right.
Yeah, with the ball when it came down. But I mean, if I'm Mike McCarthy, like, even given that angle and some of the other things that you saw before the Seahawks got off the next play,
he had a timeout.
I'm challenging that.
Sure.
I mean, that's a huge play. We often talk about like losses that the Seahawks have and whose fault it is. Whether it's defense loss, a quarterback loss, whatever, coaching loss. This was a coaching loss by the Green Bay Packers. Not challenging that play and not going forward on 4th and 2, I think, are gigantic blunders.
And that speaks to the conservative nature of Mike McCarthy. I mean, that's always been his big issue.
Yeah, he's been he has struggles in critical moments. Let's just put it that way.
But I think, too, when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you'll think, oh, well, we're good enough to overcome that.
Sure, that's great until you get fired because you rely on Aaron Rodgers to just go out there and bail you out every time.
Well, I still don't think it would have been definitive. It would have been interesting, though, to see.
Oh, dude, that was totally definitive.
You don't think he caught it? You don't think he caught it?
Oh. No, that's not a catch.
Okay.
That's not a catch. Like, straight up, that is not a catch.
Because from the angle that they showed where the ball moved, you just couldn't see where his hand was underneath it. So
you could.
I couldn't tell.
That's not a catch in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have surprised me if it came back that way.
Yeah, that one doesn't. No, that does not stand up upon review. There's no doubt in my mind. None.
Golden Tate still caught it, though.
Well, yeah, that I actually can look at that and argue, like, for reals, that's a catch. I look at this and I can look at it. I have no argument. That is not a catch. That's got to be infuriating to Packers fans. So sorry, not sorry.
Well, but still, like I said, it took the TV copy 2 plays that the Seahawks ran afterward before they finally had the angle.
Yeah, it was a big, big moment. Russell Wilson drops it in there to Tyler Lockett. And look, in real time, that looks like a catch all the way.
Sure.
Like, I didn't think it was not a catch at any point until they started showing the replays. I was like, oh, wow, I guess that may have actually moved. I mean, in real time, I can understand why the referees called it a catch.
Well, then you had another catch where in real time, the refs called it incomplete with the David Moore catch, was 27-yarder down the sideline. And Moore fumbles it out of bounds, and it turns out it was a fumble. It was a catch and a fumble. Pete Carroll throws the challenge flag, and we have yet again another catch where the officials called it incomplete on David Moore.
Well, so I want David Moore to stop making a habit of this. Like, once you catch it, keep a hold of it.
Sure,
that'd be nice. But that, again, looking at calls that were right or not right, you go back at that one and look, they got it right upon review. That is absolutely a catch by the rule now. So apparently what I've learned is it's not 2 feet down, it's 3 feet down. So you got to grow another leg and put like another foot down.
2 feet and a football move, and a third step counts as a football move.
Right. And I think that's the number one thing they're looking for is like, did you have it for 3 whole steps?
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you do anything on the field with the ball in your hand, anything, even blink while you're on the field, that is a football move. You're doing football things.
You're doing football things, right. Well, let's talk about some of the negatives. And one of them in this game was pre-snap penalties for the Seahawks, which they were able to overcome, but it was an issue in the first half. And I think through the game, they had, 5 false start penalties? And you saw the Green Bay Packers
12 men on the field on another one.
Yeah.
And I want to say there was another procedural penalty in there as well. This pre-snap catfish needs to freaking get lined out. That stuff makes me unbelievably angry. Like, if I were a coach in the NFL, that's the crap that would kill me dead of a heart attack. Like, I can't handle that. Like, just, this isn't tough. If it's on 2, you go on the second hut. Like, this, like, just remember that.
Well, you saw a lot of lateral movement by the Packers. I even saw one where I'm pretty sure that the Packers dude, and I think it was Fackrell, was in the neutral zone before the guy on offense even moved. I think that was the first one. Then another one, I couldn't even tell who jumped first, but my favorite was watching the TV copy where the close-up was on George Fant, and Troy Aikman, the only dude you could even see in the frame was George Fant, and Troy Aikman saying, well, from that angle, you can see that Fant wasn't drawn offside. Fant was the only dude in the frame.
Well, not only that, but offensive linemen don't get drawn offside. Defensive linemen get drawn offside.
Right.
That's how that works. You false start when you're an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think I said that wrong.
Well, let's blame Troy anyways.
I'm blaming him for the fact that he was saying that you could see that Fant wasn't drawn into it because
couldn't see the defender and what he was doing. Now, there was also reports that the Packers were yelling out calls and things like that. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
you know,
he didn't care either. Yeah, he said we need to keep our stuff together. And I mean, the one thing that he did call out was the fact that it was awfully noisy when the Seahawks were on offense for a home game. And I think that had to do a lot with the Packers fans coming to the stadium. When I heard listening to the audio of the game and hearing that Aaron Rodgers' second bomb, the second touchdown of the game where he threw the bomb, it sounded like it was a home game.
For the Packers?
Yeah, it sounded like everybody in the clink was cheering on the touchdown.
Look,
you don't normally hear cheers at the stadium.
I will give you this. The Packer fans did show up for that game, no doubt about it. I'd say it was probably 25% Packers fans at the stadium.
Sure. Yeah, it made a difference because when dudes score touchdowns, I shouldn't have to question, did the Seahawks just make a good play?
Look, they were louder than pretty much any other opposing fan group we've had at the Clink this year, for sure.
I'm not saying they took over the stadium. I'm just saying it was noticeable. I just want to make
sure we're on the same page. All right. Because the Seahawks did go to a silent count a little bit on offense, and it was less it wasn't about the crowd noise. It was about the Packers barking out signals and trying to get guys a false start, which is dirty pool, but you still got to ignore it and find a way. So they did. They went to the silent count.
You can't count on the officials to make that call.
No, I mean, the officials should.
Sure.
But I don't, you know what? I don't count on the officials for nothing.
Right.
You know? I mean, we're penalized so freaking much as it is. Like, I just know that, that's part of my foe for this week is just the freaking officials every week. It just feels that way.
It was just weird to me because I saw a couple times where I couldn't even tell where our dude moved. There was one call, I think it was on Justin Britt, couldn't even see him move. And then
that's because everybody else moved and he didn't. So somebody didn't know the snap count, and that was Justin Britt.
That's a problem. And but then I saw a play. It was the third Packers touchdown where they went up 21-17, where their left tackle got a huge jump. And they threw it to the end zone.
And he held McDougald coming around the edge.
Yeah.
Like, when did we stop calling holding? That was infuriating. I mean, it was plain as day. Dude just rips McDougald to the ground. McDougald coming on the blitz and can't be bothered to pull out the hanky. Aaron needs another score.
Yeah, well, the other WTF moment, it was several moments. And when I say WTF, I mean, what the Fackrell?
Oh, that guy.
That dude had a huge game.
Where'd he come from?
I don't know.
Did Clay Matthews and this Fackrell guy have a Freaky Friday moment and switch bodies? Because he looked like he looked like what Clay Matthews used to be.
Right.
Out there. I think Clay Matthews has switched bodies.
Well, good for him if he figured that out.
Well, I guess. I don't know. He lost the mane. He doesn't have the flowing mane anymore. But I guess he got younger.
Yeah, he could play in the league a little bit longer, right?
Yeah. I don't know. But I would be concerned if I was a Packers fan that Clay Matthews has left his body and stolen Fackrells.
I think if you're a Green Bay Packers fan, you make that trade.
Probably, huh?
Kyler Fackrell. That's his first name.
Oh, his first name's Kyler?
Yeah.
Wow, he's the most millennial linebacker ever. The Packers need to fill in the rest of their linebacker core with a guy named Aiden and another dude named Hunter. And then they'll have the most millennial linebackers ever.
4 total pressures, 3 sacks, 1 hit on the quarterback. I think he had a batted pass.
Yeah.
Dude was all over the place.
Clay Fackrell was all over the field and giving us problems. I don't want to see him again. I'm glad they're not going to make the playoffs now.
It kind of feels like they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, their defense isn't all that great. And you can only
they can't win on the road.
You can't. Well, the reason you can't win on the road is because your entire offense is predicated on Aaron Rodgers bombs. Like, Aaron Jones was actually running the ball okay, and then they completely abandoned it. Like, thanks, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, where was he in the second half?
I don't know. Like, they just decided to stop doing it.
Well, he finished the game just 11 carries for 40 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. They just stopped doing it.
And in the first half, he had 7 carries for 27 yards. So he only carried the ball 4 times in the second half when they were up 21-17.
That's what I was going to say. Starting this second half with the ball and up 21-17.
And he gets 4 carries.
They just abandoned the run game.
Wow.
Man, I'd be mad if I was a Packers fan.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a Packers fan.
No.
Instead, we are Seahawks fans, 5-5 now, going across the country for our second to last road game of the season against the Carolina Panthers.
Man, I didn't even think about that, but that is a true fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's our last road game against the Niners?
Against the Niners in the middle of December. So that's almost, that's not even, what does it take, like an hour to fly down to the Bay Area from Seattle?
Yeah, weather will be nice. Yeah, that sounds good. I like this a lot because that means we get the Vikings at home coming up too.
Get the Vikings at home, the Chiefs at home right before.
Yeah, I'm already out on the Chiefs game. Like I'm going to pick the Seahawks in my pick'em league because I'm not a jerk. But I that's going to be a loss.
Well, and they could be playing for home field too throughout the playoffs, so they'll probably be playing all their dudes.
Oh yeah,
but we played the Rams close. Shoot, if Mahomes throws 3 picks in a game. Yeah,
the Mahomes, he was throwing a lot of things in that game. Yeah, we'll touch on that again in the second half of the show. That's something I want to we're probably not going to get a bonus pick show out. So let's talk about it a little bit in the second half. I think it's intriguing.
All right. Well, before we move on to the Panthers, Chris Balding sends in an email, says, "Good morning, guys. Well, you asked for clutch and you got it. Yes, it was a slow start and those pre-snap penalties were a real low point, but a win against a playoff rival is huge. A question for Adam. With the emergence of Penny, are we beginning to see the start of a true running back by committee in Seattle as all 3 running backs are looking good and have all found a role in the offense? Now let's take a mini bye, get everyone well rested, and let's go stick it to that walking clothes rack that is Cam. I'm more of a diva than Lady Gaga Newton. All the best from the UK. Go Hawks."
Go Hawks, man. It's funny, the emergence of Rashad Penny, right? Like, it's taken a while to adjust to the league. He's playing better. I don't know about you, Brandon, but to me, he doesn't look fast when he runs. I don't get that sense. He doesn't feel like that burner.
Well, if you remember how Sean Alexander looked when he was a young player too, he was just a guy that, he found the hole and, once he got through it, he just had that stride. And he was outrunning dudes, but it didn't look like he was all that fast. He's fast, but not quick. Whereas Mike Davis is quick, but not fast.
Right. Oh, well said. I look at the running back by committee at this point, and it has changed a little bit. And I do think Penny's coming on. I'm happy for that. I really am. I want Rashad Penny to succeed and be a valuable first round pick. I do. Trust me on that. I had my opinions coming into this year, and they proved out to be right. And it's starting to, come into form here, just like his game. I think it's changed. The committee has changed like this. Penny has supplanted Mike Davis as the number 2, but there is a clear cut number 1, and it's not even close.
Right.
And that's Chris Carson.
And then so you have Chris Carson, and you mix it in with Penny. And I kind of like Mike Davis, because he does have that little bit of thumper in him that he can come in and close out a game and you can kind of save Carson a little bit. And we all know that he gets gassed after the first and second quarter. So that's the perfect time.
Does he?
I don't think he ever gets gassed, but I think if you're Pete Carroll, you saw what happened. It took him a couple games to get back after that 27 carry game. Like, you don't want to give Carson 30 carries. So I think 17 is a good number for him to get to, where you say, okay, that's our feature dude. And you mix in Penny, and then, you have the closer with Mike Davis.
A little bit of Mike Davis. And I think you hit it exactly on the head there. The idea that Chris Carson can't stand up to 30 carries a game, at least not right now. Yeah. Like the state that his body's in right now at this point in the season. And so you have to protect him. And I think that has a lot to do with you seeing Penny being more involved and Mike Davis getting sprinkled in and all that. I think you nailed it with that.
So the Seahawks go across the country to take on the Panthers, second place in the NFC South. They're 6-4 on the year, but they're coming off a 2-game losing streak, one where they get absolutely roasted by the Steelers, and then a last-second loss to the Lions where they decide not to go for 2 points at the end of the game, going for the win, and they end up taking the L and losing, 20-19 to the Lions.
Yeah, let's touch on the the 2-point conversion call at the end of the game, because if I'm a Panthers fan, I love it. Yeah. I love that we went for it.
I don't mind it. On the road.
And Graham Gano has missed his last 2 kicks, a field goal and an extra point. Mm-hmm. And you have an opportunity to win it right there. And not only that, they schemed it open. It's just your inconsistent quarterback missed the throw.
So make it.
Yeah, you make the throw, and now you're a genius. You're Riverboat Ron again. See, people are so quick to lambaste somebody when something doesn't work, or heap praise on them when it does, instead of being consistent all the way through. Like, I still think Ron Rivera is a decent coach, and I like the decision. Did it work out for him? No. But I'm glad that he had the cojones to go for it.
Sure.
Like, if I'm a Panthers fan.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. And I don't mind the fact that they lost to the Lions. That helps our deal.
Didn't everything this week go our way?
Everything did go our way.
I loved it. Like, every time I looked up, I was like, oh, that's happening. Well, fantastic. The Falcons are going to lose? Wonderful. Like, who else lost that we needed to lose? The Vikings lost. That one I was stoked about.
Yeah, I think and then the Cowboys won, which kind of makes us look a little bit better. That's one of the 5-5 teams that...
No. Every team that we've beat is terrible now. Like, once we beat them, they're awful. Like, Lions were the hottest team in the league, and then we beat them, and now they're a dumpster fire. Like, who else was it like that? The Packers, same story. I feel like every team that we beat that we're like, oh, now we have a quality win. The national media says, oh, no. We take it away.
Well, that could happen with the Panthers, but even with a loss, that would bring them down to 6-5. But I don't know about this Panthers. This is a different Panthers team when they're playing at home. They're undefeated at home this year. They're favored by 3.5 points in this game. The last time the Seahawks played in Carolina, they got smoked in the first half in the playoffs. They fought back to lose 31-24. There's only 4 undefeated teams playing at home this year. The Patriots, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Panthers are that 4th team.
Oh, well, we're ready to take one of those guys off the list. Look, last time we played the Panthers, we hung 40 on them. Like, that happened.
That was in Seattle, though.
I don't care. But it is always a tough game in Carolina. These always seem to be low-scoring affairs, and it comes down to like one score. And honestly, I don't see this game being any different than any of those. I mean, when I look at the way these teams match up, they might as well be mirror images of one another. They're basically middling offensive teams with pretty dang good defenses, and they run the heck out of the football. That's who they are. And with the quarterback that makes the occasional chunk play. It's really crazy how much these teams mirror each other. All the way down over onto the defense side of the ball. I mean, Kuechly versus Wagner. Sure. I mean, in those defenses, and really no weak links. Just everybody's pretty good with a couple stars, right? Mm-hmm. And don't give up the big play and just make it tough on you. It's a very, very even matchup all the way across the board. I think the difference in this game is going to be special teams. Graham Gano has his struggles. Janikowski's been locked in. Michael Dixon has been crushing it the last couple weeks. Like, he had a couple struggle games in there. I mean, they weren't even that big of a struggle. And now he's totally changing field position on every single punt, just booming it with accuracy and touch. I think special teams is the difference.
I can see that. There's 2 interesting differences. When I look at offense, I expected the Carolina rushing, how often they run the ball, to be a little bit higher. They're about 57% pass to 43% rush. Seattle's actually rushing it slightly more than passing it. They're 51 to 49. And on defense, one huge difference is Carolina inside the red zone allows a score 82% of the time compared to the Seahawks 59%. That's a big difference inside the red zone.
And the Seahawks have been a good offensive red zone team as well.
Right.
So that's something that works into our advantage. Now, you mentioned the run pass ratio for the Panthers, and I know they technically pass it more than they run, but a lot of those passes are little dump offs to McCaffrey.
That's true.
Which are de facto run plays. And the offense is very much this. The offense is the Christian McCaffrey show, with a little bit of Devin Funchess downfield, a lot of 10 to 15 yard Norv Turner style deep routes that they get you on stuff outside of the numbers. And that's more or less their offense. You can do that if you can stop that deep passing attack and be able to play up closer to the line of scrimmage, because basically they run all their receivers down the field on every pass play and just open everything up underneath for the dump off to the back, which has killed us all season. All Pete Carroll's tenure. Like, that's, to me, that is the play going into this game, is the dump off to the running back to Christian McCaffrey, who has like 60 catches already this year.
Yeah, he's having a crazy season. And I guess with KJ Wright still looking like he's probably still going to be out this game.
I think he's done for the year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to Pete's presser on Tuesday, and they asked him about it. Well, is this something that is just going to take some rest? And then, he's going to be okay, blah, blah, blah. And Pete's like, yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out more this week. That, to me, sounds not good. But fortunately, and we can talk about this a little more after the Panthers, Michael Kendricks will be back at some point here.
Yeah, he's back and practicing. Another guy back and practicing this week is J.D. McKissick.
Yeah, could be interesting to see how they work him in. I don't know who he's going to take touches from. So good luck.
Right. Because it's not like CJ Prosise is getting a ton of touches either.
No, he's running the ball precisely one time this year.
Yikes.
Writing's on the wall. He hasn't been available for a lot of games too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which is the story of his career, sadly. But the Panthers, not a lot of weak links, all the way around on their team.
DJ Moore having a pretty good year.
Yeah, he's pretty quick. And again, it's a lot on those deeper routes, man. That's that Norv Turner style offense, which should give the pass rush a little bit of time to get to the quarterback. And we saw him crank it up a little bit in the second half. When asked what the difference was in the second half against the Packers and getting the pass rush going, Ken Norton responded that guys just got home. Well, thanks for the great analysis. But basically the idea was that guys were working together. It wasn't any just one guy that was making it happen. Guys were collapsing the pocket as a collective unit, and that made it difficult. We're going to need to do that again. Bobby Wagner is going to have to be that spy on Cam Newton. He's owned Cam Newton. He is our best defense against what Cam can do outside of the pocket. If they keep trying to run those deep routes, if we can cover the check down back and McCaffrey, maybe get an extra corner out on the field to be on him, you'll have an opportunity to get pressure on Cam. And when Cam is pressured, he is inconsistent, and that's when he makes mistakes. And that's maybe when we can finally pick up another turnover, which it's been a spell since we've had a turnover here.
Yeah, what's happened with the turnovers? We've been giving it up way more than we've been taking it away. And for a team that was having such big success through the first half of the season, Pete Carroll talking about how they got to double digits. That was their goal, to get to that by the midway point of the season. Mm-hmm. And then just to have that go away. It feels like a big part of the Seahawks game, and I think that's a big reason why some of these games are so close. And when you go on the road against a team like Carolina, it's going to be important to, one, not give it up, and to try and take it away from in some of these moments.
Yeah, and that really, when you think about it, the idea that turnovers could be like the thing in this game, and I know it's simplistic analysis in all of that, but when you go and look at two teams like this that are so evenly matched and have similar styles of play, you got to look for the little things that tend to make a big difference, and turnovers is that. And the Seahawks have a quarterback that generally doesn't turn the ball over, and you have a quarterback playing for the Carolina Panthers who can be a turnover machine at times, especially when things start to not go his way. So I like our chances in the idea that I trust Russell Wilson a lot more to take care of the football than I do Cam Newton.
One of the things that I'm really liking and what seems to be coming together the second half of the season is that tandem of Frank Clark and up the middle with Jaron Reed. Those two guys, and then you mix in a little bit of Quentin Jefferson. You saw Rasheem Green get his first sack of his career. How cool would it be to get your first sack of your career on Aaron Rodgers? So congrats to Rasheem Green on that. And then we saw Jacob Martin is starting to become, kind of the way that they use him to kind of be a speedy guy on the outside, but sometimes also stunt in if the pocket's collapsing and catch the quarterback as he's trying to escape. I like the way that they're using Martin too.
Yeah, he was one of the guys I was going to point out as somebody that I'm enjoying the way they play the game and just his speedy edge rushing ability. And then combine that again with Ken Norton's creativity in those stunts up front. I think when you don't just have a guy who's just dominant like Von Miller or Khalil Mack or one of those guys, you have to invent pressure. You have to conjure it up. And Ken Norton's doing that with a little bit of blitzing here and there and some creative stunts up front. And you see it finally get done. One of the reasons those stunts were able to get home, too, is that the secondary played lockdown football in the second half. They really did. And there was a number of possessions where Aaron Rodgers had time initially, but the corners were able to hold up and really keep everybody under wraps. And we're going to need that sort of performance from the secondary in this game. And with the safety play we're getting out of T2 and McDougald, I think it's entirely possible.
It's pretty crazy looking at the Cam Newton numbers when he gets under pressure. And he's actually a quarterback that you can blitz. We've faced a stretch of quarterbacks to where if you blitz them, they're usually going to find a way to beat you. Cam's actually one who, when you do blitz him, he tends to make some mistakes. And shoot, when you get four dudes getting pressure on him, he's done. I mean, 4 picks and 2 touchdowns. That's a pretty heavy ratio to the interception side. And he'll run the ball to get out of pressure often. But if you have a guy like Bobby Wagner, like you said, acting as the spy on Newton, that can help shut that down.
Yeah, Cam Newton is one of those guys that has never been good under pressure. And especially in this offense that they run, it's not going to work well for him as well because most of their routes are late developing routes. They're trying to push the ball down the field. And when you have that and the blitz comes through right quick and in your face, you don't really have that hot to throw it to. And when you're a guy like Cam Newton who doesn't make the best decisions when you're under pressure and then also has poor mechanics to start that get even poorer when under pressure, you are going to throw a lot of picks.
Yeah, 75% completion percentage when he isn't pressured. 48% completion when he does get pressure with just four guys coming at him.
Yeah, what is Russell Wilson's record going up against Cam Newton at this point? It's got to be a winning record.
Yeah, he has the loss in the playoffs, and then there was that late loss at home. Where they scored late with Greg Olsen. Yeah, it was 2015. So yeah, 3 years ago.
Right. Okay,
but those are the only two. Yeah, other than that, Russell since 2012, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 2.
5 and 2. I like my chances when I hear things like that. You beat Carolina, who is one of the people you're looking at as a wild card competition, and then your next few games look totally doable. Niners, Vikings, Niners. Yes, please. Like that sounds great. If you get this game, this one against the Panthers.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks end up going 10-6.
Well, that's what we were talking about. We needed to go 2-2 over these 4 games. And unfortunately they lost their first 2, but bounce back and you're right back in position going into the stretch run in December.
And this is a great prove-it game as far as cementing yourself as a legitimate team in the league in the eyes of the rest of the league. Some people are starting to come around, like I mentioned at the top of the pod, but you beat the Panthers on the road. And let's not forget, the Seahawks have been great on the road this year. They're road warriors, man.
Yeah, they lost their first 2 games against the Bears and the Broncos, which, that Bears loss is not looking quite as bad as we get through the season here. The Bears they're going to win that division.
Look, and the Broncos' record is not great, but they're not a terrible team.
No.
Like they're not a Raiders or a Cardinals or Browns or anything like that. Like they're actually a competent football team.
Pete knows. It was interesting hearing him, saying, I can't even count how many times he said sucks and sucky in his 710 ESPN press conference on Friday after the game. Being 5-5 sucks.
Yeah.
You don't normally hear that from a coach.
I love it because his expectations are totally different. And he knows what this team is and can be. And with all these young players too, they just continue to grow. I feel like the Seahawks become more and more competitive every single week. Like if you compare week 3 Seattle Seahawks football to last week or even the week before against the Rams, and it's night and day.
Yeah, I really like how the pass rush is coming together. I mentioned Frank Clark and Jaron Reed. Those two guys, I think you're going to have a hard time paying both of those guys eventually. But I love having the interior pressure that Jaron Reed's bringing to the team this year.
Yeah, which is really surprising because he was definitely hailed as a run-stopping defensive tackle coming out of college. And for him to develop that part of his game is a real testament to his work and the work of the defensive coaching staff to really bring that to fruition. And it's really cool. And then you mix in Rasheem Green with that. And then again, Jacob Martin, who I'm really digging on. It makes for a formidable pass rush. And look, if you can keep the Panthers to field goals rather than touchdowns and make Gano go out there and try to make them, I think that would be huge.
Yeah.
All he has to do is miss one in that game, and it's going to come unraveled for him.
Well, you mentioned that the national media is kind of starting to come around on the Seahawks. It was, I've been hearing some of the national interviews where I can understand it from a national media perspective, right? Because they're looking at it and they're saying, well, here's a team that lost Richard Sherman, Michael Bennett, Cam Chancellor, then Earl Thomas to injury early on in the year, because they don't know that any of the players behind them are going to have any kind of success filling in behind them. So you look at that and you go, well, they're obviously rebuilding, right? They lose Jimmy Graham on the offensive side of the football. Well, now we see him go to the Packers, and that was a good decision to get rid of him. A lot of these players where you say, oh, well, the Seahawks are making good decisions, and they knew that some of their young talent would be able to thrive with the departure of some of those players.
Well, I totally saw that they had lost their way a little bit in the way that they play and with their hunger. It's kind of been proven that Pete Carroll doesn't do well with veteran-laden teams. That's not his strength. I mean, just go all the way back to his tenure with the Patriots.
Sure.
That was a veteran-laden team, and his message did not ring with those guys. Like, that rah-rah stuff, like, a guy that's played 12 years in the league, like, for the most part, most of them are like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I just don't care. And so the turnover in bringing in a bunch of young, hungry dudes, I think that taps into Pete Carroll's strengths as a coach. I think it's helped with the injury front to a degree. I mean, I know we still have had injuries this year, but again, that's been mostly to the older players, and I think that makes a big difference. And just giving guys a chance and believing in your system and believing in your ability to coach guys up. And you've seen it all come together. I mean, the idea that they have taken McDougald and T2 and turned them to an elite safety tandem, I mean, holy crap. Who saw that coming?
Nope.
Like, I don't even think that you and I could have sat here and said, yeah, that's how that's going to go.
Yeah, you said, well, you would count on your coach, who's been excellent at finding players in the secondary, and go, well, they'll at least be average.
Sure.
But to expect them, and along with Trey Flowers as a rookie, a 5th rounder, I didn't have that high of expectations for him for this year.
He's holding his own. I mean, what more can you ask out of a 5th round rookie who was playing safety before he did this?
Would you, other than maybe the ball, punching the ball out of the receiver's hands, like, could you really tell a difference between him and Byron Maxwell? I mean, he's filled in that role of being pretty good on the opposite side.
Yeah, he's really kind of done a good impersonation of whether that's Maxwell or Browner or whoever it is that's been on the opposite side of your quote unquote, corner number one. And I'm looking forward to the development of Shaquille and Trey this next offseason. I think that's going to be, if there's any area on this team that can take the leap next year, I really believe it's right there at those positions.
I was looking at the Seahawks playoff chances, and we're back up to 50%.
No, we're not. We're not up to 50%. We're at like 99%. We've been at 99% for the last few weeks. I don't know I don't know what kind of math they're using and that sort of thing. They just need to ask me, and from my gut, I will tell you what our percentage chance to make the playoffs is, and it's 99%.
If they get the win, when they get the win over the Panthers.
Well, that's one of the things on your list that you need to accomplish. And with the Panthers slumping, with a clear edge in a third of the game in special teams, and the fact that the Seahawks are a great road team, and then what I really am hoping for, and this will be the biggest factor to me, is I really hope they're wearing the Wolf Grays.
Oh, okay.
I want Wolf Grays in Carolina.
Where have they worn them this year? Have they not worn them this year?
They have not worn them this year.
Oh, well, it's time then.
It's time. This is the one.
You look around the rest of the NFC, and it kind of feels like the Rams, the Saints, and the Bears are the top three teams, at least. Panthers
The Bears aren't. The Bears aren't.
No?
They're not that good.
They're pretty good.
They're okay. I would love to face the Bears again. Love to face the Bears again. We drubbed them by 3 scores.
They're Jacksonville of last season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
And they went all the way to the AFC Championship.
Well, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Sanchez made a couple AFC championships too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not in on the Bears. I'm sorry.
I'm interested to see the Bears defense against the Rams offense. And even the Saints offense to an extent.
I just got an alert from Bleacher Report. Trubisky is out Thursday.
He injured his shoulder late in that game, and on the short week, he's not going to be able to play. So we'll get to see some Chase Daniels.
I like Chase Daniels.
All right, Adam. Well, what do you say we get to the second half of the show?
Sounds good, bud.
If you want to know why a show isn't out about the normal time that it would be, go to getintheflock.com because we post updates about the show there. I'm just getting back from a long vacation. I apologize for sneaking it in the middle of the season, and we didn't get to do the post game recaps. But
yeah, that's kind of on you.
It's mostly on me, but now we're getting back into it.
Yeah, we're getting back into it. It seems like you've been on vacation for like a month, dude.
I know. It feels like a long time.
Yeah.
Because I came down right before the Rams game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when are you coming back?
I'm getting back. I have to be back for Thanksgiving.
And you're in Utah right now?
I'm in Salt Lake right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not a bad drive. I'm just super happy to be back from Mississippi. That was part of the issues this week as well.
Yeah.
I got to do that.
And now it's Santa time.
And now it's Santa time. I've got one weekend of a reprieve this weekend. I'm really excited to watch the Seahawks live. That's going to be fun. And maybe we can actually do a post-game show after the Panthers game.
Okay, let's do it.
What time is the kickoff? Are we the early or the late game? I'm sure we're the early game, right?
I'm sure it's an early game.
And I want to say I'm very proud of you.
Proud of me?
Very proud of you. Because in discussing this upcoming Panthers game, in the matchup, you know what you didn't bring up once?
Oh, that it's an early start? Because I think
you've learned and that it's you fly across the country early start. Thank you. I appreciate you realizing that crap doesn't matter.
I'm more concerned with the fact that the Panthers are undefeated at home. That seems like a more legitimate, they're just a different team at home versus on the road.
It sounds like the pride before the fall to me.
I hope so.
Let's take down the big bad Panthers.
It's going to be another nail biter.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking forward to this game and also not looking forward to this game.
Because Pete Carroll loves these stupid kind of close games.
Oh, I know. This plays right into,
I like it when
Right
we
into
can
his
blow a
deal.
team out. I can relax for the third and fourth quarter. You know, you have a touchdown lead going in at halftime. Like, that is comfortable to me.
Right.
And we don't get that almost ever.
Never. No. But then again, we don't get blown out either. Like, ever.
I know.
So, I mean,
you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I'll take it. But, you know, the other thing that I'll take, man, is the schedule coming up and the Seahawks potential here to really make the playoffs. I mean, look, you get by the Panthers. We talked about it a little before. It's Niners at home, Vikings at home, Niners on the road. Then you got the Chiefs. And then you finish up with Arizona at home.
Yeah.
Like, if you get this Panthers game, there's only one of those you look at and be like, I'm not sure that one's winnable.
And that's the Chiefs game.
Right. But again, that's in Seattle. And we've seen the Mahomes make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. In big games on the road, like we did against the Rams.
Right.
Well, before we get to do better and better at life, let's welcome some new members of the flock.
Yeah, let's do that, man.
Including this one isn't a new member, but we did get a raise from Michael, up from $3 to $5.50. And Michael says going up to $5.50 because the podcast makes the journey home from work a little easier. Hopefully, it'll give the Hawks good luck tonight. And it did. The Hawks won.
It did. So I guess Michael knows what he needs to do this week.
Yeah, you just have to give us a raise before the Seahawks game every week now, Michael. That's, I mean,
right.
Sorry, but you did it to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, but it is appreciated. No, that's awesome, man.
And we got some new flockers as well. Andrew in Marysville checks in at 1212, says, I'm in. I've been a freeloader for far too long now, and I'm proud to join my brother Patrick and complete the twin Ulinski pledge. Both of us born on 12/12, both of us big-time 12s. Well then, a 12/12 donation from both of us only seems fitting. You guys kick ass. Go Hawks.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's nice to have the brothers in the Ring of Honor. The group continues to astound. Like, I just... If you want to have people to chat with during a Seahawks game that are legit cool and like know things and are funny and are just good freaking people, get in the Ring of Honor. You will not be disappointed.
You won't. It's a blast.
It really is. And I hate that sort of crap. You know how much I hate the social media stuff and all that, but right. I enjoy that.
This is a place you actually like to go on social media.
Yes. I don't. It's weird.
See, we've even won Adam over. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Another part of that new Ring of Honor group, Shannon Minch, the other half of the Tampa Bay She-Hawkers with Crystal.
Yes.
So Shannon's in. Welcome to the flock, Shannon.
Oh, yeah. Shannon's going to be a great addition. We got to talk a little bit with those girls while we were in London, Shannon and Crystal. Super cool. So welcome, Shannon. You are now a little flocker. I mean, it needed to happen. So.
Also in is Norma Holter, in for $3. Welcome to the flock, Norma.
Welcome. Welcome to the Pick'em League. That's going to be fun. I haven't made my picks for this week. Have you?
No, I haven't either, but I smoked you last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at how I penciled out last week, but it didn't feel good.
Oh, good.
Let's put it that way.
We'll get to it right after we welcome our final member this week, Santiago Lopez, in for $1. Welcome to the flock, Santiago.
I'm very jealous of Santiago. That's a strong name, Santiago.
Santiago Lopez.
That's very sexy. It's so much better. Like, I wish my name was Santiago because it would help with the ladies so much. Like being out and like trying to talk. So what's your name? Hi, I'm Adam. Or I could be, yes, my name is Santiago.
Santiago. Yeah.
Man, I bet he kills it.
He probably looks like Antonio Banderas too.
Oh, that'd be
with that name?
Dual threat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just some really handsome guy who's very smooth.
It sounds like a handsome name.
Yeah, that's how I picture Santiago in my mind.
Like if you're on Tinder, you don't even post your profile picture, you just post your name and the lady's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah. That's all you do. Santiago.
It's a fun name to say too.
I know. So welcome.
Getting into the Pick'em League, I got 8 correct this past week, just one off of all the leaders who got 9 right this last week.
Tough week.
Adam, you got 4 correct this last week.
Well, it's more than none.
And it's
that wasn't a good week for me.
No,
that wasn't a good week for me. But it did work out in the sense that all the things that needed to happen for us happened.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Philly goes down. Philly got thumped.
Philly, Atlanta. Shoot, didn't even our other division rivals lose except for the Rams?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, the 49ers were on a bye. Oh, that's right. I was at Legoland this past week, and apparently there was a 49ers player there. I think I spotted him, but I don't know who it was. But you know who I did spot at Legoland? ShamWow guy was there.
What?
Yeah. I kind of thought it was him, and I'm like, oh, that looks a lot like the ShamWow guy. And he was lined up 2 spots behind us for the brunch line. And then I heard him talking to his daughter, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's for sure ShamWow dude. I mean, same voice. Yeah. Yeah.
So ShamWow guy does not have the kind of swag in Cali to move to the front of the line. He's got to stand in the line like the rest of us dopes.
Yep.
Right. I didn't know what level of fame you have to get to before you get to start skipping lines. Because like one day I'm looking forward to that for us.
Yeah, well, or you could look at it in the way that we are at the same level as the ShamWow guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. That makes sense.
Pretty impressive when you think about it.
It sure is. Yeah, me and ShamWow guy.
You know what, Adam? I have no idea how to transition out of that and into our pick'em winners from this last week.
All right, get into the winners. All right, you know, here you go. Here's your transition.
Okay,
ShamWow guy clearly is a winner at life. Like it worked out well for him. So let's get to the winners of the pick'em league.
I don't know how well it did work out for him, to be honest.
Well, it's not like he's eating out of a dumpster.
That's true. Like, yeah, he's yeah.
Could be a lot worse.
Yeah, that Legoland hotel was awfully nice. I totally recommend it.
Was it made out of Legos?
The one right next. If I had to do it over again, I would stay at the Legoland Castle because that one looks from the outside like it's made out of Legos.
Is that up to code?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, every kid thought about building their own house out of Legos at some point, right?
I think it would be pretty strong.
Yeah, on the Big Bad Wolf scale, like, you know, you got the hay house, the wood house, and then the brick house.
Right.
Where would the Lego house fit in durability for you? Like if that was inserted into the Big Bad Wolf story.
I think if you're going by Lego building code, though, you have to make sure and stagger your, the bricks with the 8, the 8x2s.
Correct.
You got to stagger the 8x2s because if you build a wall where you just do 8x2s on top of each other and don't stagger them, that thing's going to tip right over.
Yeah, you need superior Lego engineering in here. Like if you engineered it well with Legos, is the Lego house stronger than hay? I think I'd go for that.
Sure.
Now, is it stronger than the wood house?
Yes. If you do the staggered, really? if you stagger your bricks properly.
Okay, but if you have poor brick staggerage, the Big Bad Wolf will blow down your Lego house before your wooden house. Okay. All right. Now, with correct staggered Lego construction techniques, how does that compare to a brick house?
Are you super gluing your Lego pieces or like you would with cement and actual bricks, like the little pig house? Because then it would be.
Your parents let you play with super glue.
Not mine.
Nah, mine wouldn't either. All right, brick beats Legos, and plus that would melt in a fire. The brick stands. Like if the wolf were to get creative and try to like roast you out,
you'd just melt that
catfish.
Okay, I'm glad we figured that out. Who won?
That's the transition we're looking for. Yeah. So there were a lot of people that had 9 right, and so to shorten that list, I went to 9 correct and over 70 points because with the way the Chiefs and Rams game went, if you picked under 70 points for the tiebreaker, you just weren't paying attention to the season going into this game, unless you just thought it was going to be a weird defensive matchup for some reason. But no, not the case. And so out of everybody, Adam for O-Line GM, I thought that was a fun nickname for a team name.
What was it now?
Adam for O-Line GM.
I love it. That's a fantastic name.
Yeah.
I want, because I want to be I don't know that I need to be anymore. I think we got Solari now.
Yeah, he's figured it out.
I'd give up the crown to Mike Solari.
So Zach was the winner this week out of everybody. But when we look at the VIP flocker list, that goes to Rashad Pennywise. RJ Weber was our top VIP. Matt B, 354 Hawks, was in second. Male pattern baldwinness, onward and upward, Big Dixon Energy, and Casey Hawk.
Male pattern baldwinness is that's
strong.
Solid.
Yeah.
That one got me. Well, congratulations, all you guys. And by congratulations, I mean suck it. I'm really pissed that I lost all you guys.
So this week's prize is going to be, I think we're down to our last $25 fanatics.com gift card. But with Black Friday coming up, go to seahawkerspodcast.com/fan. And you can help support the show there. And Fanatics has donated some gift cards to our Pick'em winners. And so I think we're down to our last one. I'm going to send that over to RJ. I felt bad for Matt this week because normally Sunday nights I like to go in because I have to add our VIP flocker list manually. Mm-hmm. And so I like to check to see who's toward the top to see if I missed anybody going into the final game. And I didn't have a chance to do that until it was either Tuesday or maybe yesterday. And so Matt was on top. And then I found out that I missed RJ, adding him to the VIP flocker list. And then so Matt was no longer on the top anymore. I felt bad.
No, well, I mean, good. I'm glad you felt guilty about that. You deserve it. What are you overall now in the Pick'em League? What's your record?
You say that like I have it pulled up.
Well, I thought you did. You've been reading off leaders and nonsense, and yeah.
So my team name, I caught you a delicious sea bass. I am at number 151 overall with 95 picks correct.
Are you serious?
I'm at 151, yeah.
I'm at 93 picks correct. I don't like this late season surge.
Catfish!
Wait, again. I don't know. I'm not happy. It's a week to rebound for me.
You are at number 179.
That's not high enough.
No.
I can't believe my picks were so bad last week.
You had a bad week, dude. I had to I actually looked to make sure that you actually picked all your games when I saw that you were that low.
I know.
I'm like, oh, no.
I didn't know which ones were a risk pick, though, so I just, I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't pay attention to risk picks this last week either.
Okay, should we go through the risk picks here real quick, just so that we know what we'll make our one risk pick on the show right now, since we're probably not going to do a pick show.
Yeah, unless you want to do one tomorrow or Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do a pick show then.
Okay, let's try and do a pick show tomorrow.
Okay, cool. You know what else we can do?
Do better and better in life.
That's exactly right. Who's your do better?
My do better this week is for this Le'Veon Bell situation. We have to address it on the show. There's so many reports out there that don't even bother to explain why Le'Veon Bell decided not to show up and is sitting out. I hear John Clayton calling him a bonehead and saying that he's making a stupid decision. It's pretty much echoed on the TV. I don't hear anybody explaining why. I had to go to an article at theundefeated.com. I don't know if I've ever read any article on theundefeated.com before, but it was the only place where I could find his agent talking about the situation and explaining some of the reasons why the holdout. Because I have to think that Le'Veon Bell isn't a stupid guy. He wouldn't be making this decision lightly.
No, a $14 million decision? Yeah. I think he's put some time into it.
You would expect that. As a running back, this is Le'Veon Bell's last chance to get a long-term guaranteed deal. And according to the Undefeated article, the Steelers are one of the few teams who don't guarantee contracts for a veteran player for more than a year. So that's an issue for Bell. And yes, he would have gotten the $14.5 million of guaranteed money to play under the franchise tag. It's a lot of money. I know for dudes like us and for the dudes and gals listening, like that's a lot of money. That's more money than we're probably going to see in a lifetime. But then when you look at David Johnson getting double that in guaranteed money, and you see Todd Gurley getting even more than that in guaranteed money, Bell knows what he's worth, and he's not willing to take less than what he thinks he's worth. And as a Seahawks fan, you see what happened to Earl Thomas. As a safety, he's fortunate that in his career, he's able to make it to a third contract. For most running backs, they don't get that. But you see what happened to Earl Thomas. Earl isn't going to get a big guaranteed salary now that he's coming back from injury. He'd be awfully lucky to. This is Le'Veon Bell's last chance. And he's going to make sure that he makes the most of it. And it actually makes a lot more sense for him to now sit out the whole season. And now the Steelers can't afford to use the franchise tag on him again. And they're going to use the transition tag, it sounds like, which will allow them to match any offer. But he's now going to have his shot to get a full market offer at what he's worth. He's actually going to be able to see what he's worth rather than having the franchise tag put on him. And I'm not hearing that explained anywhere apart from this undefeated.com article. I'm not seeing that anywhere in the media. And for that, do better.
Yeah, and not only that, like, the other factor that nobody talks about regarding the Le'Veon Bell situation is he has clearly put a value on what it's going to take as far as money to offset the pounding of putting his body through a full NFL season as an NFL running back. It's worth so much to him, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, $14 million was not enough in his mind to risk his health and his safety and just to go through that. It wasn't worth it to him. Now, again, you said a lot of us don't understand that because $14 million is definitely more than you and I are going to ever see combined.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money.
Fine. But for him, the value in his mind, his valuation to put his body on the line, $14 million isn't worth it. And so he's not going to do it.
Right.
And so all of us can sit here and judge that he left $14 million on the table. But at the end of the day, it's up to him. Like, there are certain things in the mill that I could do for a certain amount of money that a lot of people would say is quite a bit of money for them. Mm-hmm. Right. I won't do it. Like, it's just not worth it to me.
Right.
I mean, for whatever reason. And that's something that none of us can judge for him. So get off his case on that. And then again, you just bringing up the idea of him like putting himself position to actually get his payday and take a year off and let his body heal. I don't think this is nearly as dumb as people make it out to.
Oh, I don't think so either. He's 26. He's going to be 27. If he were in the situation of Earl Thomas, if he goes out there and tears an ACL, nobody's going to give him a David Johnson or a Todd Gurley contract. But after this year, yeah, he'll be fully healthy and he'll get one of those contracts.
Oh yeah, somebody's paying him.
Yeah,
I mean, whether it's the Niners or the Jets or, somebody's gonna open up the checkbook.
Absolutely,
no doubt about it.
So
no doubt about it.
It's when you look at it from that perspective, you go, oh well, he's not an idiot or a bonehead or a nincompoop like a lot of these people in the media are saying.
Right.
Although John Clayton is kind of a Steelers fan, so I mean, he grew up a Steelers fan.
Right.
So I think there's a little saltiness there.
Yeah, probably. Well, I'm salty, Brandon. I'm salty at the NFL because I just watched on Monday Night Football an abomination of football. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever watched in my life.
It was pretty bad.
The completely defense optional football where just the whole game was just receivers running around, like basically the passers just throwing against air. 95 combined pass attempts for over 800 yards and 10 touchdowns by the QBs. Like that kind of production happened in one game. It took Joe Montana in his MVP seasons 3 or 4 games to equal that.
Yeah.
This is not football. There's no running attack.
But Adam, you said defense optional, but there were defensive plays in this game.
Look, if defense constitutes the quarterback making a mistake and you getting an interception, or one of your defensive linemen being able to generate a strip sack, if that's all defense is now, then defense is doomed and it's gone from this league. This fantasy-friendly offensive bull that they rolled out there that was so freaking boring, I fell asleep in the third quarter. Like, this is awful. I don't understand all the headlines. Best regular season game ever. Best Monday Night Football game ever. I can think of a zillion games that were way better than this. This was a tragedy. This is what the NFL has been pushing on us. This flag football-esque football league where defense doesn't even show up. I hate it. I want it to change. And for everybody who's a proponent of it and every writer that's written an article glorifying this garbage, do better.
Well, it'll make it easy to watch football games now. I'll just watch games like this the same way I watch NBA. I'll just tune in for the last 3 or 4 minutes like I did with the Rams game and to see who has, watch 3 or 4 lead changes in those last 4 minutes.
The thing is that there is a stark parallel in a rule change for both the NBA and the NFL that has ushered in eras of very offensive-friendly play that has become more or less unwatchable. And in the NBA, it was the elimination of the hand check. I mean, I'm not even talking about the physical play inside. The hand check where the guards could actually get your hands on you as you're bringing the ball up the court and push you around and move you around a little bit. Mm-hmm. You could play actual defense. That changed everything. Then the likes of, frail Steph Curry can go out there and just light you up because you can't touch the guy. Very similar to the NFL, where 2 years ago, they really started cracking down on any sort of pull of the jersey by the DBs. Mm-hmm. Now you can't even hardly touch a receiver as they run around, let alone lay one out in the middle of the field for having the audacity to go over the middle of the field. It's just a green light to dial it up and throw it. It's boring as hell. Like, if you're really into just watching numbers go up on a screen, then great. I'm sure you're elated. But it's terrible for the game.
You like Tecmo Bowl, though. This is like Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, I like that on a video game from 1991. I don't want that as my modern-day equivalent of the NFL. And that was what was a little bit difficult to watch in the Seahawks-Packers game. Like, good defense now is getting 5 stops. Like, you get 5 stops, you played elite defense. That's sustained defense.
Yeah.
I mean, how many stops did you get in that Rams-Chiefs game? I don't know. It couldn't have been more than 2.
Did we even see a punter?
10 touchdowns in a game between the 2 quarterbacks? It's unwatchable, man.
Yeah, quite a different game than we're used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in the argument that, well, there was big defensive plays, that's not sustained defense. That's not a defense going out there and shutting down an offense for a quarter even. That's just getting lucky on a turnover or getting one of your 4 sacks a game. I know it's not going to change. I know this is where the league is going. I just really enjoy the fact that we have a head coach who enjoys being a throwback and playing the game the way it was meant to be played.
Doing it a little bit different. That's a good transition to Better at Life. Pete Carroll's not my Better at Life, but he could be.
I agree. This is easy. A good transition, guys that you can really respect and people who are truly better at life. My Better at Life than Skip Bayless this week is for a small college in northern New York, and it's called Purchase College. I'm pretty sure they might be a sister college of like Central Oregon. I'm not sure they legitimately exist, but we'll go with it. But at Purchase College, in one of their restrooms, there is a hidden shrine to Danny DeVito. That's right. The amazing comedic actor made famous for the younger people through It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There is a bathroom in which there's a paper towel dispenser, right? Mm-hmm. And you can pull that off of the wall, and behind it is a portrait of Danny DeVito. There is also a cutout of Danny DeVito standing in the corner right underneath of it with a note in place of the cutout that says, "Leave an offering for our Lord and Savior, Danny DeVito, patron saint of Trashmen." Other items include a commuter card, a package of Pop Rocks, a whoopee cushion, and an Apple iTunes gift card, all sprawled across the floor at the feet of the patron saint, Danny DeVito. This is hilarious. I love it. I can't think of a better dude to have a shrine to, a god to pray to in the Lord and Savior, Danny DeVito. I think it's hilarious. Students at Purchase College, which I'm sure is a fake college, you are better at life than Skip Bayless.
Are you sure this just isn't something that was set up for an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I'm pretty sure. They actually invited Danny DeVito to campus, but has yet to show.
All right, Adam. My Better at Life this week is for the former Seahawks who made the list of finalists for the 2019 Hall of Fame. Kevin Mawai, Steve Hutchinson, and Edgerrin James. I'll even include Tom Flores but I'm holding back on endorsing him for the Hall because he was a big part of ruining the team to the point where they nearly moved to Southern California. I didn't want to get on a big rant about Flores, but he took over as GM in '89, made terrible decisions in personnel, proceeded to fire our most successful head coach in Chuck Knox. And then when he had to take over the team in '92, he deserved to go 2-14 based on the terrible decisions he made as the GM. So as good as his years were under John Madden, and as good as his years were post John Madden, I feel like you can't ignore how bad his years were in Seattle. But I'm giving him the better at life nod along with Mawai, Hutchinson, and James because they did make the list of 25 finalists. And for that, they're better at life than Skip Bayless.
There's only one guy on there. Well, I guess two that you can concern yourself with, and that's Hutchinson and Flores. Mawai and Edgerrin James were not exactly Seahawks.
No, he was a Jet and Colt.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? Flores was a Raider.
Yeah. So really Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Who some people might argue is more a Viking than anything, but I don't know.
He spent just as much time with the Vikings as he did Seattle.
Well, cool. Well, congrats to them and their bid to get into the Hall of Fame. I would say Hutchinson and James for sure.
Oh, Mawai for sure is going to get in too.
Mawai. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, three of those. I don't know about Flores. Like I said, I'm salty about that still too. So,
and with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Great analysis by you, man.
Thanks for calling me out.
Calling you out? I'm giving you props.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Calling me out to give me props.
Okay. Hey, you. Just so you know, you're awesome.
Thanks, dude. You're awesome too.
I'm mediocre at best, but I appreciate you putting up with me.